There are two types of people in this world. Those who are inspired and those who inspire. Those who constantly long for and those who acquire. No idea is original, yes, there's truth in this, but the person who has the strength to implement the idea always is. Because there are those who have dreams and chase them, but those who sleep waiting to be awakened, unaware that we can make a difference in our existence through hard work, resilience and persistence. Because a man that wishes to move mountains must realize that he must first start by shoveling pebbles from its base, and be aware that no matter how long it takes, a man can move mountains. And most of you will think this is just a saying, and the majority won't believe me, but when you get a couple minutes on your PC, Google Dasharaf Manjihi, because a man can move mountains. Success is a ladder, and only few of us will find it. Even less of us will have the strength to climb it, afraid of the prospect of spending your whole life climbing. But just remember that no matter what route you take, it's always up to you to decide it. Don't let your success define you, let your success be defining. Have you seen that picture on Facebook of the guy that's mining? Why give up when you're this close to the diamond? Because people that change the world do not let the world change them. Because there are two types of people in this world. Those who are amazed and those who are amazing. So which one are you?
Emmanuel. Millions of people in the last 6 months just recently discovered you only live once. She took hers off, rip yours off. Now dance on stage till your wig falls off. And ignore the consequences at all costs. Convince yourself this isn't your loss. At the last time I said YOLO, my chain swung from the left to the right and I still can't remember the rest of the night. It's not even a comic, it's a part. Nathan, I'm sorry for the vomit in your car, but you know, bro, YOLO. It's an inefficient reminder that inhibitions are minor. Release is a must, like a proper safe account. Cause life's like a calculator and a shot is amount of paper. At the end of the day, you gotta make it count. So I live for the moment. Reassess what I'm prepared to give to the moment. Allow my focus to shift to the moment, symbolized in this drink that I lift to the gift of the moment. Means I'm less likely not to share a detail, but increase the times I forgot to wear a seatbelt. See girls, we males, we could toast to good health, but we toast to getting wrong. And we just say that we're young and we're supposed to get it wrong. That's why we get lean as opposed to getting strong. And go gym and work on our upper body strength, but we hardly go on treads, cause that's cardio and legs. See, we're short-sighted. We don't know what foresight is. That's the reason why we laugh wholeheartedly and why I don't rate you if you can't go-kart with me. Nah, don't start with me, you fool, you blaze a fag. But since when did you become too cool for laser tag? So you work in an office and your day's a drag. Cause on the way to the station, just race a jack. Then wipe the sweat from your face and brag about your newfound Jason Statham swag. That's called YOLO. I could lose a brother that fell out with me, and that would bother the hell out of me. So I'm tearing and calling him up in the prison, hearing him falling in love with the vision of when he's here and we can ball in another division. And you hear from me that all of the brothers have risen. I'm repeating myself, man, I keep repeating myself. All my poems are starting to sound the same, but it's cool, as long as my heart isn't down the drain. I wouldn't even mind getting martyred without the fame, cause you only live once, cause you gotta make it count. Much as it's a reason to go mad in a rave, I'm so glad it's a wave, cause this one makes sense. It's just used to justify a lot of dumb statements. I could live my life like a music video, but them after effects do stick with me. So if I use YOLO to help me to sin, then why wouldn't I use it to help people win? Especially those with unhealthy beginnings. Plus, if that's the case, you can't tell me your thing, I might as well be a king. Cause I could get wasted and buzz about for days. That says more about me than it does about the phrase. There's nothing wrong with YOLO. Even if it starts affecting your health, all it does is reflect what you expect of yourself. And this is something every man doesn't like to say, but breathing is a luxury and I could die today. Fam, I wanna see change, like a shopkeeper. So I can't ignore the fact that life's a lot deeper. Some stuff isn't worth the bull, cause some of that dumb stuff's irreversible. This isn't personal, but I tell myself, don't go too crazy, cause YOLO can leave you with a whole new baby. Or if not the prospect of terminating one, we find germinating fun, but learning ain't the one. who's the father? You're Czechoslovakian claiming her Jamaican son. And some of them STIs can burn and they can bun. And if I am very loose and you see me with the pills and the cranberry juice, you'll be looking at me like I'm actually scum. So the point is, YOLO doesn't have to be dumb. There's no doubt in my brain that you could change the world. I'd go out on my way to prove it, they can tell. But if the stakes too high, you gotta take it down. Cause you only live once, man, you gotta make it count. Gotta make it count. Make it count. Oh.
Let's play a game. You guess who used to work at the Gap? Kanye West. Guess who used to sell hot dogs at the mall? Eva Mendes. I heard President Andrew Johnson was a tailor, George Washington was a surveyor, Herbert Hoover was an engineer, Theodore Roosevelt was a rancher, and President Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer. Hugh Jackman, who plays Wolverine, was a clown. But look who's laughing now. You know what I noticed about successful people? Successful people take a course of action which coincides with their belief or passion. Put your hand up if you work a 9 to 5, or 5 to 9, or just any job which you don't enjoy but takes up half your time. Well, hopefully in a couple weeks, months, days, years time, you'll be able to come back to this video, hear that first line, and keep your hand down. Because how many times have you visualized taking a pen from the manager's desk, or the one the cashier keeps behind the till, the one your supervisor places it strategically in their hair, or the one the security guard keeps behind his ear for extra intimidation, and writing your resignation? Because there's nothing wrong with making an honest living, but be honest, are you honestly living? With this menial job which allows you just to stay afloat, yes, a job, a job, which leaves you just over broke every single month. Living your life just for the weekend, living life just on the weekend, because the other 5 days belong to your manager. You see, there's a big difference between a job and a career. Because in a career, no matter how many hours you work, you do it because it's satisfactory. But in a job, you do it for a salary. You're stuck in the rat race. And you know, being stuck in the rat race is one of the biggest of traps, because as a matter of fact, even if you win the rat race, you're still just a rat. See, I understand the need to have a job temporarily, but pursue a career eventually. Because in my job, I used to sell at least 200 shoes a day, and none of that was ever reflected in my pay. One of my colleagues once made the company $5 in 1 month. And you know what he got? An email, a £20 discount voucher, and a complimentary lunch. And you think you're safe because your job is commission based, until you've been working there for 3 years and the secretary with the short skirt gets a promotion because her and the boss went for dinner real late. I'm sure you can relate. But wait, are we still happy with an extra week holiday and a raise in a salary? Perhaps we need more clarity. Let's look at the statistics. Because the Industrial Revolution was beneficial technologically, but it coerced a lot of people into factories for ridiculous salaries to benefit their families, and that shaped people's mentalities exponentially, and essentially it became the norm to work for someone else by the turn of the century. And I could have regurgitated facts and figures to support this, but I choose not to boast. Plus that would give them nothing to write about in the Huffington Post. Now in 3 years I've had 6 jobs, and that made me think that long term I could never be happy working one of these jobs. And I used to have a rich uncle called Steve, and they say that apple don't fall far from the tree, so maybe subconsciously I was trying to get one of Steve's jobs. I understand more than anyone that a job allows you to pay the bills, make ends meet and survive. But that's exactly what it is, surviving, not living. I hope you're aware of the difference. It's like when you hear but don't listen. Because you can hear good advice, but if you don't heed it, it does no benefit to your system. The same way only knowledge with application is wisdom. I hope you're creating the distinction. Sean Corey Carter said it best. 9 to 5 is how you survive, and I'm not trying to survive. So he strived hard for his dream, and look where it took him. So bear that in mind next time you drive past that arena in Brooklyn. But then again, survival is the only trait that every human being has in common. And do not take this as a reason to quit your job, go back home and stare at a computer screen, because a government check plus idleness does not equal success. Success will not fall in your lap. In my family we have a saying. It says, if you really want to grow trees, pray for rain, but don't neglect to water your seeds. Chase your dreams. Because I wrote this on the back of a pay slip, on a late shift, the grave shift of slave ship for makeshift wages. Google the term corporate sharecropping and you understand what I'm talking about. If somebody wants to do these jobs, then let them. And from the bottom of my heart, I respect them. Because I once met a garbage man who was the happiest man that I've ever met. But don't become a slave to a paycheck. Because a job is a safe net. The condom which the system uses to screw you. And none of us would be here if everyone practiced safe sex. Stand tall. And if you're not sure if you're building someone else's dream, maybe this will help. Jerry Giles said, you will recognize your own path when you come upon it, because you will suddenly have all the energy and imagination you will ever need. And don't be afraid to innovate, because it's not about how much change you make, but rather about how much change you make. Because a business that makes nothing but money is a poor business. So you decide what your life is worth, your passion or your paycheck. Because your playing small does not serve the world. Because what is our deepest fear? It's not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Confucius. Choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Peace.
See, your lips say don't, but your eyes say commence. Now, with this kind of thing, a lot of guys take offense. But as you hold your breath, you hope to death that my free-running fingers proceed cunnilingus. You listen to too much R&B, stunning singers, stunning fame. You can tell that I'm running game. But you like the way I'm running this game. Once the fun and the pain that run in the veins have begun in the brain, they become and became one and the same. That's just enough to help you forget some of the shame, but not enough to stop you from coming again. See that physical attraction? That was gear one. I don't know where these things appear from. Premature acceleration overloads the gears, so she enjoyed the ride, but it drove her close to tears. I told this girl, know yourself, keep your lane discipline. But you know when you can tell people ain't listening. Brand new car key becomes scratchy car key. Patent leather becomes patchy car key. She becomes obsessed with all that she can't be, so that's 15 love to patriarchy. See, for men it's called coming, cause you come to your senses. She resents the sound of his voice when his sense is found, because her defense is down, but she ain't under pretenses. The one given 100% is the one that resents this. The passing satisfaction and dents in your bed. Can't force it all to make sense in your head. I'm overloaded with lies when I roll with the guys. You should thank me for pulling the wool over your eyes. That's the only reason I got sheep on my farm. When we have a roll in hay, I ain't sweeping the barn. I'm the one sowing seeds, but you're reaping the harm. And it's worse cause you ignore your creeping alarm. The last thing you wanna do is steep in a qualm. But alright, it's keeping my calm. Would you asleep on my arm? Cotton candy, my kind of margin boo. You gotten angry, I sidelined and margined you. And you expect more from me? Harden you? You would think all the beats would harden you. Now you're back to fronting like I'm the right guy, but I left you feeling like a side chick. You see it in the next shoot, read him like a sidekick. Worried that I run into a Nicki Minaj and it's bound to end up in a sticky massage. Is it one function, many a chemical, psychological, any of them at all? Why do I do it? Why do you have it? Why did this become an undeniable habit? Why don't you go to Ann Summers and buy the real packet instead of keeping me as an unreliable rabbit? How can you expect me to return all the favours? You're genetically predisposed to maternal behaviours. We agreed to let it run its natural course, forgetting that nature is an actual force. And when this force becomes insurmountable, to what extent can we be held accountable?
Imagine being blackballed, blackmailed as a black male, taken from under a black sky on a black night on a black ship. Went from being an African warrior to just another black guy. Ironic, cause back then a black guy wasn't invited to a black tie. I had to work on the field and cook black pudding pie, and if I didn't back down, I was beating black and blue until I blacked out. How can a white man have such a black heart? But like a blacksmith, I forged my own path. Rather than sit at the back of the bus, I'd rather be blacklisted in the blackness, marching with a black fist till I gained my rights. And I just sat on the corner and smoked till I had black lips. Either that or I'll be blacked out on a black background with a black mask and a black strap, waiting to run up in someone's house like black. It's kinda funny like Jack Black, how I changed my cards blackjack till I could afford to order a black cab. We built our own black businesses, black sports, black arts. Used to call me a black sheep, but now I have a black car, a Blackberry and a black Jeep. And I heard it's even cool to be black now, and Obama turned the white into a black house. And if you don't get that, you ain't black spiritually. Look how many times I use black lyrically, and that's what I call a black history.
That's what I call a black history.
My city has a lot of faces. Some can be found in forgotten places, comfortably sound with a lot of graces. The sun could be down on his Hungary town, but in London he found him a shot of greatness. My city has a lot of faces. Some can tell you what a loss of faith is. Before we hated people, we were all created equal. Then we learned to despise the strife and forgot that variety's the spice of life. Look around you. Constantly standing on the brink of history, watching newsreaders linking mystery. Even though a few reporters taught us to be cautious because they stink of this disease called inconsistency. See, my city has a lot of faces. 4 of them belonging to Big Ben, the rest of them hidden behind big business and Big Brother ensures all of them are monitored with them. Under social tensions, you can see London languishes. 30% minorities, 300 languages, differences, race and class, it's all enormous, but the common ground we found surpasses all the borders. If you meet a rich man, ask all his daughters, all his sons, we all live once. And who among us wouldn't want all of his funds? That's rhetorical, but I don't need call and response to know. That's how Londoners are from time to time. Only got the time to grind and whine. Technically, I'm from an elegant city, but I'm not the kind to wine and dine. I grew up around lots of crime, the violent kind. You might have heard about the rocks, the grime, the hype and shine. It's not just Cockney rhyming slang, we got block beef, violent gangs. Awkward interactions which most don't force. Children navigating through post-Cold Wars. In the states with the least funding, look at the state of East London. That's a paradox. Witness economy blooming for the have-a-lots. Business is gonna be booming, but there's a difference between having a front row seat and watching from the sidelines. TFL knows the world is your oyster, as long as you can afford it. Even though you might need to remortgage to get from Aldwych to Shoreditch. Inconvenient if you're poor, which could be expected in a tax system where the more rich get more rich. 273 times the wealth of the poorest. Yet your door is next door to the extra poor. We look on the bright side, but we're vexed for sure, like all we have to ourselves is sex and war, and a lot of diversity. So what could I personally hate a complexion for? I see different coloured hands outstretched for more. Feel free to come to London and still see the London Dungeon. Experience a tube of mad claustrophobics where food and bad posture don't mix. And join us in moving along to the groove of the song. What a sight to see, we could swap a nicety. Some of us feel you've forgotten my city, but hopefully you'll be proving us wrong. If you can take the rough with the smooth, then it's on.
My bedroom said to me, girls are like Creps. I was like, why? He said, well, when you first get them, you need to watch the step. There's always one you want to be the first to get, and how good they look can drastically affect your rep. I was like, okay, that part I get. But for the most of the part, I thought he was chatting wet. So I said, what? So since my Air Force Ones are banged up and wrecked, are you trying to imply that they're skets? He said, fam, think about it. Girls are like Creps because the more money you have, the more you're likely to get. Girls are like Creps because football players even get them for free. I call it sponsorship. They stay with a girl until the contract expires, and if they really like the girl, they can choose to re-sign. Some people get really attached to a particular kind. For instance, you can say David Beckham has had the same trainers for a very long time. Girls are like Creps because most people like the ones on display. And some of them are like bowling shoes. You know, when you go bowling, you wear them for one day, then give them away. That brings me to my next topic, away from the similes. Some girls are like Creps because some are designed specifically for certain activities. You can like black ones, white ones, really it's a minor. My brethren Jesse had one imported straight from China. He said the make was a little bit tighter. And the clubs, they're like Foot Locker. Because apart from the fact that they're well packed, but some niggas head straight to the bar. I compare that to the sales rack. Because the girls there are a lot cheaper to get. You always notice one that catches your eye. Looks kind of fly. You nudge your brethren like she looks alright, I lie. Before you walk up to her and give her a try. And just like trainers, she gotta be just right. You want one that's not too loose, but not too tight. At this point, as much as I like to protest, I assess, and I figure my nigga was actually making sense. I said, fam, not only have you changed my own perception, but how about I give you a couple of my own suggestions? Girls are like Creps, because it's not always about getting the best brand, or the latest brand. Sometimes it's about patience, timing, working very hard then, you might just find yourself a bargain. And it ain't always about chasing the latest design out. Because sometimes you have to stay with what you're comfortable with, because that's what it's about. Because once I threw my Air Forces away to go and get a pair of Air Max 90s, man, I couldn't wait. I got them for cheap, £30, I'm feeling great. Only to find out weeks later, they were fake. So fam, girls are like Creps. I don't know why I didn't see that before now. So I suppose that's why if we take care of the ones we have, clean them every evening, take them out on the weekend, they'll never get worn out. Please.
I'm a man on a mission, so I gotta go ham on a vision. I can't risk screwing it up by not doing enough. I know my mum only accepts the rise to fame if I just aim to do good and exercise the brain, so let me contextualize the game. The longer it took to reach emancipation, the more vexed the guys became. So guys obtain lethal weapons like text to rise and aim. Can't get a job, so the connect supplies the cane. Social awareness complexifies the pain, but the size of ego reflects the size of shame. Now the sisters ain't built like us. They don't sit around and cry over the spilt white stuff like us. They just play their parts, use their heads but obey their hearts. Yet we endorse and reinforce a sea of forces that actively held them back. Actually sell them that, then leave them to raise that baby and hate them. Act crazy in mayhem while the pictures that we paint and rap alienate them. But the same women that calm down the storm in us are the same ones that start outperforming us. And through this liberation process they're caking, but we can't keep up with the progress they're making, so we fall back. Catch more cases, sell more of that, act more racist. A lot of guys would rob me cause I look like them. A lot of black boys are targeted more than shook white men, but not just by them skinheads. I mean they're attacked by their own. A lot of the times the same ones selling crack by their home. Look around, why me? I'm all you have. I'm the one that says fam, they call you chap. We used to kick ball before the hood taught you to only have friends and ends you could walk through. Before you were punching triggers, before you were crunching figures. I call you my G's, they call you a bunch of... Nah, you don't care about the names they call us, cause you're copying the famous ballers that came before us. When he's on TV saying he's got more than you, who do you think my man's talking to? Is it the middle class majority or the working class minorities who first saw him through and still support him too? He only talks about your life if he's making it hell. Look, I'm taking your girl and I'm caking as well. But you don't seem to mind, you just give him a blag, give him your Grammy, give him your money for living a lie. Give him a round of applause for being down for the cause that keeps us working on the ground in the stores. Clap for this guy, he's got thousands of broads. Expensive shirts, shoes and trousers, of course. No more selling drugs, he don't put his boys into street dangers. He's found a new way to poison complete strangers. See, it's funny, he claims that he's from the hood, but he has money and fame, so he's gone for good. Now if our main problem's economic self-sufficiency, how come the ones that call themselves the richest G's don't shout about support and help to lift the streets? Shout about blowing all this wealth on strippers' fees. Typically when you need support, it's we the poor you tend to call. So how many of our kids did you send to school? What did you do for the younger G's and worn out dungarees that emerge from hate and crawl out from disease just to witness the toxic fallout hunger breeds? Not one of these mascots for crack spots have given any schools any laptops. You ain't even donated a printer yet. It's like you don't rate people's intellect. This ain't the Stone Age, we got internet. You won't block the public from the truth, cuz you got a budget for the country clubs, budget for the strip clubs, no proper budget for the youth clubs.
I need sunshine, I need angels, I need something good, I need blue skies, I need them old times, I need something good.
See. Sex and violence are facts of life. So is the need to get your stacks to rise. Now I ain't trying to act surprised about the facts of life. I respect real talk about genuine acts of strife. But what I can't respect, no, that's so-called men leading kids straight to the local pen when none of them so much as packs a knife. We're living in a world that don't really care for us. You're from the same place, you're supposed to be there for us. The problem is, man them have forgotten this. Man them make too much money off the rottenness. Man them like to clap when I talk about stopping this. But a lot of this applause is pseudo-populist. No, you don't proper wish to view no stop to this. You wanna get saved like we're living in Metropolis. Cause the idea of getting on top of this is too big a feat, fam, you ain't no chiropodist. Man them claim independence but their behaviour's homogenous. Degrade women cause the wave is misogynist. Love to spud me and tell me that I'm the guy. Let a younger die then want to cry and wonder why. You wonder why the Forsaken won't get no repentance. Co-defendants and golden pendants are gonna hold a sentence over vengeance. Cause you fuel the politics that control the judge, making it easy for the prosecution to hold a grudge. Racism isn't just abuse or a shoulder budge, it's you convincing most of them that most of us are no more than tiny brains and shiny chains, which I'm calling on you to finally change. Cause making notes ain't enough, I need change.
I need sunshine, I need angels, I need
a break.
Something good, I need blue skies, I need them old times, I need
you to care.
Something good, something good, something good. Something good, something good. Something good, something good. Something good, something good.
I once wrote a love letter to an angel. Scribbled down my feelings and emotions on an A4, about a page full. So when the postman asked for the address and told me they didn't deliver to heaven, it was painful. From that point on, at a young age, I realized reality would always stand in the way of a man attempting to fulfill his heart's desires, and that the postman was a wanker, and that only a fool would believe in Santa. No white man would give you something without expecting something back in return. Would you listen to my story if I told you I was just another black cube from the urban part of North London known as Wood Green, but we're still hanging from the same tree, by the same rope? I was a fool to believe them when they said I shouldn't waste my vote. Last year was the first and last time you see me put an X next to a party's name, cause they increased tuition fees, 4 kids died from stabbings last week, and apparently Obama just buried Osama. Like I said, only a fool would believe in Santa. I write poems while working in a stockroom at work. On a phone which is supposed to be in my locker, there's a possibility I could get fired before finishing this next line. I'm just like you, sitting behind the cashier wondering what all these years of education amounted to. I know a doctor that's a cleaner, a lawyer that stacks bottles, and an accountant that works in McDonald's. Didn't you strive for that degree? Wasn't that piece of paper with a number on it supposed to change your life? The irony of what I just said made me laugh twice. Cause a clever man will tell you that money is the root of all evil. But a wise man will tell you that money was created by people. And my mum would say, money can't buy you happiness, but it can help. How would she react if she found I took my degree and ripped it up? All the great men are no longer here to sit with us, so I drop knowledge on these streets and hope the youths pick it up. I never smoke weed, so who am I to disagree? Spark one up and blaze away if that's what sets you free. Cause they'll tell you that it's kosher, then they attempt to dictate your life with a rota. I'm a product of a part-time shift in Sainsbury's, 20-hour shift in Marks and Spencer, full-time working on a construction site, only to get home and find out the council has still turned off your lights. F 'em. 12 years in the school system, 3 years in a higher learning institution, 2 exclusions, being young, black and sagging your jeans, forcing your lecturers to draw conclusions. American dreams, street illusions, uncles constantly asking you to send them money via Western Unions. Law degree, turning 23 and finding out life ain't what you thought it would be. Admitting this to yourself awkwardly. Mental depression, government steering the economy straight into a recession. So now Lily can't get a job even though she paid attention in every flipping lesson. To be or not to be is an irrelevant question. I think therefore I am. The world is my classroom and they want to put my people in detention. I feel like a Jew in Nazi Germany, under Idi Amin in Uganda, locked in a room in a hotel in Rwanda. That's my mental state living in the slums of Great Britain. That's my mental state living in the slums of Great Britain. And it's just like, mama keeps questioning me, like, son, when you get back to university? Mama said I did it and it weren't for me. But son, I see you struggling and it's hurting me. But mama, I see you struggling and it's hurting me. Mama keeps questioning me, like, son, when you getting back to university? Mama said I did it and it weren't for me. But son, I see you struggling and it's hurting me. I once received a response for a letter I sent to an angel. She told me it had fallen out of the bag of a very unpleasant postman and the wind had carried it onto her porch. She said its word had flattered her to tears. She said she'd read it every day for the past 6 years. I asked, 6 years? So why had it taken her so long to show up? She said she'd been shy, and that as every day went by, she watched me grow more into a man who even she was not sure she was good enough for. She told me that she loved my every poem and watched every time I stepped on stage. She said she hated watching me slave away for that minimum wage. But have faith in the Lord, she said as she winked, cause you'll all be worth it one day. She said she would continue to read my letter daily and that she was my biggest fan. But the only problem was my age. She didn't date younger men. After all, she was like 2 millennium older than me. But she still thought I was cute and stopped to say one more thing before she flew away. But I already knew what she had to say. She pointed at my letter and said, if a man truly wishes to fulfill his dreams, reality can never get in the way. If a man truly wishes to fulfill his dreams, reality can never get in the way.
I'm from a place where a lot of people die for nothing. That's why I gotta be alive for something. And since I ain't in the hood blazing zoots, I guess I'm supposed to be living good, raising youths. But the hood is mad. The hood is mental. It's as mental as it is physical. Everyone here's cynical and it's all awkward. You're stuck in a piece of land that you call your hood. And when I say we're stuck in a hood, that means heads ain't getting exposed. Now if heads ain't getting exposed, then no one's got an open mind. See, I'm dealing with words of a spoken kind, but others before me wrote them fine, and for man them to know would require reading, and we know man them are not so inclined. So we're stuck in the hood. Do you know what a hood does? It absorbs the rain and it blocks out the sun, stores the pain and it knocks out the fun. And just as sure as there's good and gorgeous women, the hood obscures your vision. The word ghetto started with the Jewish community, brother, but they never went brutally shooting each other. Therefore, hood is not the same as ghetto. As with the synagogue populace, we're not synonymous. What makes our sin ominous is the fact that it's symbolic of the frolic of ignorance is prominence. Ignorance isn't bliss, it's an instrument for dominance. I will come back to that. So what's a hood? Slum after slum, back to back, where mum stacked for jack and sons pack the strap to run bags of crack. And words fly around trying to describe our condition, but at the end of the day it comes back to black. I'm not one of them guys that pretends, fam. I'm not Chuck D. I'm just a guy from the ends and I got lucky. But in this position, you see, people listen to me. So I guess I'm in a position to stop fuckery, but I currently doubt if I should. Cause as much as I want to be out of the hood, what's the point in running away? Leaving behind my dogs and becoming a stray? And I pose the same question to you. Once you've left for good, what do you suggest you should do? You're gonna jump through a window, let them figure it out, or hold open the door and shout, brother, get out? Things are getting awkward between me and the man them, cause I'm still telling you what I'm still telling thugs, and they're still selling food, still selling drugs. And no one shook a police in a hood full of G's. Even I don't like the look of police, cause they don't set foot in the streets, so they can't tell the wood for the trees. How do you think they separate the good from the grease? I would bet 100, I would bet 1,000, and nothing would change with better jobs and better housing. And as much as you dislike that, try not to murder me, cause making this statement is third degree burning me. But we won't progress if we don't address the social elements that's burning we internally. I don't want to run away from the hood. I just want to be safe and be good so we can all prosper the way that we should. It's about narrowing the gap between the rich and the poor, not giving victims reason to snitch anymore, and not deciding to fall out and bitch anymore and killing someone every time we switch anymore. If you really need reasons, I could list many more, but just look at your estate and find more time the hood is just a state of mind.
I'm sure most of you have been in a situation where you've taken your car to a mechanic and you showed him exactly the one problem. Now you come back about 2 or 3 weeks later, and not only has he identified about 5 or 6 more things wrong with it, he's also identified 1 or 2 more options just for precaution, which coincidentally are going to cost you a fortune. And not only are you far past your overdraft limit, you're also thinking, I swear the car didn't have none of these problems to begin with. A doctor will tell you that they're a doctor because they have a genuine desire to help the sick. And this is something they obviously probably believe, and I could possibly honestly agree. But then, wouldn't that mean it would be ideal for them if we lived in a world where nobody got sick? But then it wouldn't take a genius to figure out where that conflict of interest would exist. Because if nobody got sick, then they wouldn't have a job. When does the line between your good intentions and your need to make money become blurred? Because Jesus was a poor man. Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a businessman. Noah, Abraham and Moses, apart from Solomon, Dawood and Joseph, all the messengers of God, in a materialistic sense at least, were reasonably poor men. So why is your pastor balling? And this doesn't just apply to the pastors. I'm also talking about the sheikhs and the rabbis, the Dalai Lama and the Rastafaris, and any religious leader in any capacity. Can preaching the word of God actually be a job? I mean, because it must be a job because you get paid. And when you get paid, you start to get a wage. And as a result of your performance, that wage might change. And at this point, it's only human nature to then assess what you can inject to make your profile raise in hope of a raise. But maybe it's just me. But when does people's belief become your USP? And that's your unique selling point. Because does that make you any different from them companies that sell fat loss cream to claim that it helps you defeat cellulite? Isn't it selfish when the word of God is your sales pitch? And I can understand how you need the money to build up the institution, the interior, exterior, etc. But why is it that you receive a percentage and not every other member? Let me give you an example. Nabil goes to the mosque every Friday because it's prescribed by his Lord and because he believes in him. Now if someone now offered to pay him to do that and he accepted, wouldn't that nullify his original reasoning? Because isn't he doing it out of belief? You know, another thing that bothers me, why is it when you have the kids on the street handing out flyers and doing refurbishing, why for them then is it always voluntary? Why are they doing it for the sake of God? Are you not preaching for the sake of God? And if you don't want to live like the messengers, then at least live modestly. Because a Hugo Boss suit is not going to help you deliver the message any better. And a Mercedes Benz will not get you to the prayers any quicker. And I'm pissed because everybody got onto me when I supported Coney. Like, why does only a small percentage go to the children if it's a charity? But that's the same blueprint for any religion. Judaism, Islam and Christianity. How much have you ever got back from the mosque or the synagogue? And you may have been blessed because of it, but let's not neglect the politics. And let's not get it twisted. I'm not talking about stuff like zakat or tithe or anything of that nature, because I'm fully aware that those are prescribed. And I'm not giving anybody a reason to say, oh, this is why I don't donate, this is why I don't worship, this is why I don't go prayers. No, you don't do that because of your own lazy ass. Do not pin that on me. All I'm saying is, if those appointed by God himself did it for free, what makes you feel as though you can do it for a fee or exploit those who are naive? And I understand you have bills to pay and a family to feed, but don't be driving a CL3 and then try to preach that the love of money is the root of all evil to me. Because the general point is, at the end of the day, a mechanic will fix your car, but it doesn't mean he won't hustle you. And me personally, I think a doctor works way too hard to be just concerned with helping the sick. It must cross his mind at least once or twice while studying that it does help that he could possibly become filthy rich. Peace. People say that I'm controversial, and that annoys me because I just say what I think, which nobody else does nowadays. My sister said to me, she goes, you know what, Suli? You're thought-provoking and you make people think, which nobody likes to do.
X-rated.